All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions there is. What are we all here for? What's our purpose? And we're going to explore this by looking at how the very beginning of the Quran's second chapter lays out this incredible framework for understanding humanity, our potential, our biggest roadblock, and the mission designed to get us past. So let's get right to it. This is a question that, every philosophy, every person eventually has to grapple with. And the Quran, it doesn't just dip its toes in, it dives right in. It basically frames its entire message as the answer to this one fundamental question. So, right off the bat, the text presents itself as a guide, a kind of instruction manual. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. It says this guidance isn't for just anybody. It's only really accessible to people who have a very specific quality, a certain state of being.
And that brings us to this core concept of taqwa. Now, you might hear this translated as fear of God, but honestly, that doesn't quite capture it. It's so much deeper. Think of it more like a constant state of God consciousness, being totally aware of your responsibilities, the real impact of your actions, and that unseen reality you're connected to. Without this active awareness, the Quran says its guidance pretty much stays locked. And for the people who do manage to cultivate taqwa and follow this blueprint, the Quran promises something called falah. And this idea of falah is a direct challenge to how most of us think about success. It's not about money, it's not about status or power, it's a completely different kind of win. A true, lasting success that covers this life and whatever comes next.
Okay, so a clear path to success has been laid out. You'd think, great, problem solved. But right away, the text pivots and confronts a really tough reality. Even with this perfect blueprint available, most people, well, they don't follow it. And this, right here, is presented as humanity's single greatest problem. And listen, this isn't framed as some minor issue. The Quran presents this as the most urgent, most critical problem that humanity faces. Nothing else even comes close. Not poverty, not war, nothing. The consequence of this choice is a problem on a cosmic scale. To really put a number on it, some interpretations of the text suggest a ratio that is, well, it's staggering. For every 4 people, 3 are heading down a path toward loss. Just let that sink in. On a personal level, it's like looking at your 3 best friends and realizing they're walking toward a cliff. It makes the problem feel incredibly personal and urgent. So the big question is, why? Why would the vast majority of people reject a blueprint for their own success? Well, the Quran gets into the diagnosis, and it identifies 2 main mindsets, 2 spiritual conditions that lead people astray. So the text basically identifies 2 major roadblocks. First, there's the kafir, the one who openly rejects the truth. This isn't about ignorance, it's about knowing something is true and actively choosing to deny it or cover it up. But then there's the second type, which is maybe even more dangerous, the munafiq, or the hypocrite. This is the person who says all the right things, they look the part, but on the inside, they're working against the very thing they claim to believe. And here's where it gets really real. The Quran makes it crystal clear that these mindsets aren't just a personal problem. It says that these 2 groups, the open deniers and the hidden hypocrites, are the root cause of the chaos, the injustice, the corruption on the land. Their choices have real-world consequences for everyone. So after laying out this absolutely massive problem, the text doesn't just leave us there in despair. It immediately introduces the solution, a divine mission given to the Prophet Muhammad, designed for the good of all humanity. The whole spirit of this mission is captured in this one beautiful line. He wasn't sent for just one tribe or one nation or one race. He was sent as a mercy to the world. It's universal, it's compassionate, it's for absolutely everyone. So what does this mission of mercy actually look like on the ground? Well, it has these really clear, tangible goals. We're talking about establishing a society built on real, lasting peace, upholding justice for every single person, creating prosperity that everyone can share in, and at the very bottom of it all, building a new foundation for knowledge that's based on truth. And this is such a crucial point. When the Quran talks about obeying the messenger, it's not talking about personal service to a man, like doing his chores. Not at all. It's a call to give your allegiance to the mission itself. So supporting the prophet meant you were committing to building this just and peaceful world for all. It was about the cause, not the person. So we've got this grand, universal mission. But how do you actually get people to commit to it? Especially when you know denial and hypocrisy are the default for so many.
The text sees this coming, and it shifts gears from the what and why to the how. It lays down the very foundation for why anyone should listen in the first place. I mean, it's the natural question, isn't it? In a world just full of people claiming to have the answers, why should anyone commit to this particular mission? What's its ultimate claim to authority? What's the proof? The answer the Quran gives is itself. It literally puts its own divine nature on the table as the foundation for the entire project. It doesn't just ask you to believe, it offers proof and then issues this direct, open challenge to all of humanity for all time. And this is it. This is the bedrock of the entire call to action. The Quran's ultimate argument for its own authority is this challenge. If you have any doubt that this is from a divine source, then go ahead, produce something like it. See, it frames commitment not as some kind of blind faith, but as a conclusion you reach after you've looked at the evidence.
And why is this proof so absolutely critical? Because a mission this big, a mission to literally reform the entire world, can't be run by people who are only half in. It needs a community of deeply motivated individuals who are committed right down to their very core. This divine challenge is the very thing that forges that kind of unwavering commitment.
And that brings us right to the end. This whole structure we've walked through, a blueprint for success, a diagnosis of our biggest problem, and a mission for the collective good, all resting on a divine challenge, this isn't just a story from the past. It's presented as a living, breathing call to action. Which really leaves us with one final thought. How does a challenge made 14 centuries ago shape our own purpose and our commitment in the world, right here and right now?